How's it? Welcome back to the channel. So I had a comment come in on one of my older videos about can you feel physical pain in your dreams? To which the obvious answer to that question, I'll just throw this out really quick, is hell yeah, you can. Of course you can. And you can even feel like surprisingly very high levels of pain in your dreams as well. Just most of the time, if it gets that high, it tends to wake you up. And normally we'll cut the pain off right there once you wake up. But sometimes it can even follow you like into waking and then follow your ass back into sleep as you're falling back asleep, as this comment clearly states. So the basic gist of the dream was this guy was having a dream, hurt his hand somehow, couldn't quite remember exactly how he hurts it. But the pain starts off kind of low and then just starts building and getting more and more painful. He even looks at his hand at some point and realizes he's got these cuts on his palms, and it's such a crazy cut that he can almost see through the whole damn thing, like he got holes in his hand. But point is, it gets to a certain level. He wakes, he's lying in bed, still pretty groggy and tired. And before doing anything, he's just kind of lying there in bed. He realizes that the pain hasn't actually gone away. So as he's lying there in bed, he starts to think like, oh shit, maybe I really did injure my hand. I better go get a Band-Aid for it. Then looks at his hand and goes to get up to go get the Band-Aid. Realizes his hand is totally fine and it's not cut or injured. And at that point, you know, I would say fully wakes up. Pain completely goes away and all of that. But then afterwards, because he was still really groggy, going to sleep after that, he starts slipping back into, you know, hypnagogic liminal dream space. So not full-on REM style dreaming yet, but he starts to notice that as he's falling back asleep, that pain comes back and it kind of just like throbs in, or kind of comes in these waves, like comes and goes and comes back and goes. So some of my thoughts on that is, yes, that sounds totally legit. I can definitely see how that could happen. Now, it hasn't happened to me personally, but I could definitely make sense, and I can see why. I can see how it could happen. So I would venture to guess that, you know, as he woke up out of the dream from REM, he was still pretty groggy lying in bed, probably still in like a kind of hypnopompia liminal dream space, right? And in that point, you know, you're not fully awake yet, though those dream elements can certainly come back in, where for me, it's not normally a pain feeling I'm feeling of it, but I can see the dream still kind of there, kind of mixing with reality in this hypnopompic liminal dream area. So then he looks at his hand, fully wakes up, realizes it's not actually injured, pain instantly vanishes. But then because he was groggy and started to just drift off back to sleep, and enters, you know, the opposite side of hypnopompia, hypnagogia, again, that same liminal dream space, the pain starts coming back again. And so for me, that happens quite a lot. I mean, not the pain part, but slipping back into the dream, especially if I'm really groggy and can fall asleep quickly after waking. More often than not, if I'm in that state, especially waking up straight out of REM, especially if I kind of wake myself up out of REM, so the REM the sleep cycle didn't completely finish, I kind of just, you know, woke up for whatever reason. At that point, if I'm falling back asleep, more often than not, I will continue the same dream. If not exactly where I left off, I'll continue it in like theme and setting. But one thing that definitely comes through there, kind of more than even the theme and setting, it's like the sense and feel and vibe of the dream, right? So if the most prominent thing for the dream you got out was this very strong pain you were feeling, then it just kind of goes to show that as you're falling back asleep, even after fully waking up, realizing, you know, your hand wasn't actually injured, man, that same sense and vibe and feel can most certainly come back. It also makes me kind of think about, like, you know, as I'm getting older, my body keeps fucking failing me in terrible ways. Like I injured my shoulder today going out on a boat. It was kind of injured already. Just like I've been going back to like kickboxing and then jiu-jitsu class, and I'm trying to go as much as I can, and then I go too hard because I'm too old, and I start fucking injuring myself all over the place. But for me, I mean, lately it's been my shoulder, but if not, it's like my back has been my main issue, you know, for the past like 10 years or so. But if I'm going to sleep, like I can go the whole day, you know, maybe feeling some kind of discomfort in my shoulder or my back, but it's not totally bothering me. My day's going fine. But then oftentimes, if I'm going back, as I'm lying down to go to sleep, especially if that thought kind of creeps into my head, like I think a lot of it is just, you know, kind of like a mental thing. But once I kind of realize, oh yeah, my back was kind of sore, and then that pain, I'll notice that pain, it almost becomes like a negative form of meditation where I can't quite clear the thought of the pain and the fact that I feel it, and then it, you know, grows in intensity, and it kind of bother me and keep me awake. And so I'll do these things, like try to get it off of my mind. I realize I do forget about it at some point. The pain drifts away. I don't realize it. Then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, it creeps back up in my head. I realize it, I feel the pain, keeps me stuck awake for longer. So that kind of stuff definitely happens. And then another thing I kind of noticed just linked up to that is a lot of times too, if I'm dealing with some type of lingering, normally like a dull kind of pain, which is the most bothersome to me, is like I'll go back to sleep and say I do completely fall asleep. But then a lot of times that kind of lingering pain in that sense will follow me into my dreams where, you know, maybe it won't be from even anything I'm doing in that day. I'll be doing some random dream scenario shit. But then I'll still have that thing in the dream saying, oh, like my fucking back hurts, my shoulder's uncomfortable and things like that. So anyway, got kind of far off topic there. But thanks for the question. For anybody, you know, I always try to answer all the questions and comments I get on my posts. If you ever want me to cover something, feel free to leave me a comment in there. I'll definitely at least respond to you, you know, on the comment thread. But also, hell, I might just make a video about it as well. So thanks for that question and that comment. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next video.